slightly ancillary question, but we might as well address it. Basi Marha, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, says, I'm very happy to take part in this wonderful meeting. My concern is there any powerful differences to God when we pray to him in Hebrew or Greek or in other languages? And that question is coming from Uganda, by the way. So I imagine this person is thinking of perhaps native or regional languages in that part of the world. This is a hard question in some ways, an easy question in others, perhaps. I'm going to let you guys uh, give your thoughts. I'll explain why I think it's an easy question in some ways, which is that if the creator is infinite and created all of us, then certainly through any language or form of communication, even nonverbal forms, we could have some connection to the creator. So in that sense, it doesn't seem to matter. The harder part of the question is that, of course, all of these languages are very, very different and have very different concepts sometimes. And occasionally those concepts have even grown up, well, always, in fact, they've grown up through different historical contexts and different religious contexts. So in some languages, you may express certain concepts that are, say, very different from, let's say, the concepts in Hebrew. So does that matter? That's a tricky question in some ways. What do you guys think?
It's a tough one to answer,
Yes.
but like I imagine, like I'm just thinking of a scenario. Okay, here's a scenario. So here's a Babylonian guy praying to Marduk, right? And he prays to him by name, or maybe he just addresses him as God, right? And something like that, you know. And obviously that's not a valid prayer to the creator of heaven and earth from my perspective. You know, from my religious perspective, I can't take that. You know, I can't just substitute one for the other. Oh, they're all the same. You know, like, no, they're not. Gods are gods. They have names, they have characters, they're different. The deities are different, is what I'm trying to say, I guess, you know. So if you're praying to a deity, praying to one deity versus another deity, we're talking about different things, like different people. Just because I address somebody doesn't mean that I address just about anybody. In a sense, language is communication. It's human. It's universal in that sense, but not always. So it is a complicated question, as you pointed out, Shai, in some aspect. I think if we address the practical aspect of this question, my answer would be one way. If we address a more philosophical sort of say aspect of this question, then my answer would be like the first one that you gave, that it doesn't really matter. Because an infinite God can understand what we mean or what we do not mean whenever we say what we say, because he's our creator in the end. He is infinite, and in his infinite wisdom, he'll figure this out, even if we make some sort of an error, mistake, or go about it the wrong way. But our intent is important. You know, who are we trying to communicate to? What are we trying to say? Are we praying to this stone deity right here, or are we praying to the God of heaven out there, you know, whom you cannot see and cannot touch and cannot feel and cannot sense? You know, he's just out there. And so you realize that there's something much bigger than this stone statue right here. And that's the more of a practical question that really walks away from the big philosophical idea.
Thank you. I think there's food for thought for everyone in this question, actually. It's a very good question. In fact, language raises all of these questions. You know, what was the first word? Was that in a language? Can we call it a language? What did the first humans speak? How can we speak with the eternal creator? Is it possible? In what way? What do we mean by communicating, by speaking? In what language? Does it matter from language to language? Everyone should meditate on these types of questions. I
I'll
think.
tell a little story, Shia, and you might know this one. This is just an old story that the rabbis tell all the time. There was once a young boy who did not go very far in his education and school. And so here he is at the synagogue praying, you know, and all the men are standing out there, standing with their prayer books, and they're chanting out all these words in Hebrew, and they're singing to God, and he's standing with his prayer book, struggling to read because, you know, he's just a poor boy and he had a little bit of education. He doesn't know how to read very well. And so the rabbi pauses, and everyone looks at this boy. They keep wanting for him to finish praying, and the rabbi pauses, says, no, no, let him pray, let him be. And after a while, the whole congregation gets a little bit impatient with this, but he says, no, no, just let him pray. And what is he doing? He doesn't know how to pray. He says, what should I do, Rabbi? He says, well, say the letters that you do know. Just start reciting the alphabet. If all you know is the alphabet, start reciting the alphabet. He says, the Almighty, he'll take the letters of this alphabet and he'll put them together in the right order in his heavenly realm, and he will figure it out what it is that your heart wishes to express. And so that's the story that sometimes we're told. And that's the idea that the human intent is important in communication, is that even if we can't really say things right, in a sense, what our heart speaks, the Almighty can understand. Even if the letters that we say, they're all wrong and we pronounce them wrong and we don't even know how to say them because we can't read or we're illiterate or something like that. In the end, I mean, it's a cute story, but you understand there's an ethic behind it. There's a teaching behind it. And the rabbis keep telling this story, that encouraging people to pray the way they can, even if they don't know how to use the proper words.
Imagine your life enriched by the timeless wisdom of the Hebrew Bible. Delve into the scriptures, understand the nuances of every word that have shaped our world. Welcome to the Israel Bible Center, a globally renowned educational institute that opens the doors to a world of Hebraic and Judaic knowledge. Our institute offers a large collection of crash courses in biblical and Jewish studies, providing students with a deep understanding of the culture, language, and history of the Holy Bible. Immerse yourself in our mini courses, roundtable talks, articles, podcasts, all meticulously prepared by our core and guest faculty, who are both educated and now represent many prestigious universities around the world. At the Israel Bible Center, we are a global community exploring the depth of the Holy Bible. Whether you are an advanced student or just taking your first steps into the world of biblical studies, here you will be able to earn certificates that validate your expertise within its Jewish contextual background. Now the journey is yours to embark upon. We invite you to become a part of this transformative experience. Register today and come with us on a journey of discovery into the world of the Hebrew Bible and the Jewish New Testament.